Hello and welcome to another episode of the BirDie Golf Club Podcast. Today's episode we have Martin Maritz with us from Birdies Bogeys Golf Gear, who create incredible apparel that is great for the course, great off the course, just brilliant customizable options, fantastic. But one of the very, very interesting things about Martin is his career in golf. He played professionally on the European Tour for over a decade. He has some incredible insights into what it's like playing professional golf. He had a relatively successful career, and yet still the struggles that come along with playing professionally, which maybe we don't really see as amateurs. We just see the very, very top and the money that they're making. So it's a great chat with Martin. We got Tiger Woods stories, Trevor Immelman stories, who he grew up playing golf with, and it's a fascinating chat, and I'm looking forward to having many more with Martin over the years. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I thought I'd just do a very brief recap of the Players' Championship. Rory McIlroy wins his second Players' Championship, and deservedly so. I thought he was really great through the whole week, played a little bit of that Scotty golf that he was talking about, which is that being as bad, but Rory's good is still better than most. The playoff ended up being a little bit of a pillow fight. Obviously, they played 16, 17, 18, some of the most iconic stretches of golf around, basically, ever. And I felt like Rory was one up early on, and explain that. I don't think it's anything to do with the fact that he got to tee off first. The broadcast sort of said it was almost unfair that there was a commentary that Rory got to tee off first because it wasn't a flip a coin, it was decided in the clubhouse. Now, I just think that's a silly comment, because as it was, it was a fantastic thing for Rory, because he hit a 360-yard drive down a par 5, leaving him with a pitching wedge in hand. But guess what? That's not that easy, funny enough, guys. That's actually quite difficult. And if he hits a bad one, well, then it's advantage to his opponent. It's advantage to JJ Spawn. So, nonsense that it's an advantage. It's an advantage if you make it one. Same as everything else. Anyway, hits an amazing shot. Birdie's the first. Spawn pars the first, and they go into 17, playing incredibly difficult. Rory hits a great little 9-iron, just knocks it down because they're playing into the wind, so he's trying to not get it too high, and lands soft. Great shot, gets held up by the wind, middle of the green, 25-foot downhill putt. Safe play on that hole. Island green. Play it safe. JJ Spawn steps up after saying he'd hit that shot over and over again on Trackman into the same wind. Airmails the green by admittedly a few yards, not a lot, and effectively playoff over. From that point, he triple bogeys the 17th. Rory bogeyed the 17th after making the green in one, difficult putt downhill, raced past, missed the par putt, but he's got a 3-shot lead going down the last, and he cleaned it up with a bogey down the last, one over, basically did it. I kind of thought leading into it even par would be enough, but yeah, very, very simply, effectively done by Rory today. Showed his class, and JJ Spawn just fell a bit short. I felt like he was intimidated by the drive on the first, which is, at that point, fair play to Rory. And also there's a brief moment in the broadcast where you see him just looking down at Rory's bag, and I don't know, there was this look of intimidation in his eye, and that's what can happen when you're playing against one of the best players to ever play the game. So what can you do? Not look at his bag? I'm looking at Rory's bag. If I'm that close to Rory's bag, even if I'm played just as well as him that week, I'm looking at it. I'm seeing the little Raws logos, and I'm getting excited. So fair play to JJ on that one. Other noticeable things I thought TPC was fantastic, set up a real challenge. The wind added to it. The rain delay was unfortunate due to thunder and lightning, but generally great course. The mystique of playing the same course every year adds to an event, and that's clear. with the players. So you can't have too many of them. You've got to go around to different courses, but these events will always be held in high regard by golfers worldwide. But I thought it was great, a great challenge as always. I thought Scotty was good, not great. I think it was 5 under for the tournament in the end. Played pretty steady golf, just didn't have that kick on. But I think it will come with Scotty. I mean, he's going to be a problem come the Masters. Just waiting for him to pick up a bit more form, really. He's still, at the moment, the king out there, isn't he? So if anyone can beat him across 72 holes, then, well played. Justin Thomas showed the difficulty of the golf course and sometimes the class that he can show as well as sort of when he's bad, he's really bad. 6 over on the first day, 10 under on the next day to get basically back into the tournament and challenging towards the top as well. I mean, I think he was only 6 off at that point. So you're thinking, okay, here we go. He's going to kick on from this 10 under, shoots 1 over, 2 over the next day and back out of it again. So interesting tournament for him. He is, funny enough, going to be I want you to do this in the comments as well. Give me a head and a heart pick for the Masters. So my head pick is going to be Justin Thomas. I feel like there's time now for him to assess what was good and what was bad. He's been definitely playing better this year. Just needs to find consistency over 4 days. So he's my head pick. I think JT, when he gets hot, stats show there's not many people better than him. So he's going to be my head pick. My heart pick will be Rory. Will always be Rory until I see that green jacket draped over his shoulders. I don't know if I can be truly, truly happy. It just needs to happen for the good of everyone, I think. And now he's got the grey hair to go along with it, the wisdom of this last decade and what it's taught him and how he's going to be a better champion now. So let's just see Rory out there. Let's see him out there. Let's see him just get over the line this year at the Masters. Just make it happen. Then I think the floodgates open. They're already pretty wide open anyway with Rory. He wins a lot, but majors-wise, I feel like he goes on a bit of a tear after that. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Your head and your heart pick for the Masters. What does your heart want? What's your head telling you? I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that below. But I think that much pretty does for the Players' Championship. Obviously, we lived this weekend and it was Singapore. Joaquin Niemann wins that tournament. Phil Mickelson afterwards says he's number 1 in the world at the moment, Joaquin Niemann. That's up for debate, I guess. Let's see what happens when they all come back together for the Masters. That's the only way of knowing right now until the game is unified once again. I think DJ showed a little sign of life until he sort of fell off a little bit, but shooting 8 under on the first day. So yeah, let's just get to this first major of the year. Let's get to the Masters. Let's get down Magnolia Lane. Let's see Augusta. It's just a place that only really is alive for one weekend of the year. It doesn't exist. Other than this, I refuse to believe that the lights even get turned on. So can't wait. We're only 3 weeks out from it now. So very, very excited for that. Looking forward to it. But great weekend of golf to watch on telly. Very entertaining. And just a great advert for the game as always. Anyway, I won't bore you all anymore with me just droning on about things that you probably already know. So we're going to throw it to the interview with Martin. It was fantastic. I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. If you're going to head over and check out Birdies and Bogeys Golf Gear on Instagram and their website. And obviously, if you can, go and follow BirDie Golf Club Podcast on Instagram as well. Some more content coming from there. Lots of little story updates. And I'm trying to improve in my golf as well. So little updates about that. As always, thank you so much for listening. Always blown away by seeing the listener count just going up. And it's really, really exciting. So make sure that you You're part of the club, which seems so horribly gimmicky to say, but, it's a good line, isn't it? And follow the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share it with your friends. That is the triumvirate of things I'm going to ask you to do. I think that's the right word as well. If it's not, oh well, it's in now. So anyway, enjoy the interview with Martin. I know I thoroughly did, and I will see you guys again next week. It would be amiss, of course, first of all, not to talk about the fact, you lived the dream for many of us of playing golf for a living. Could you just give an overview of your career to everyone? I could try, but I would, much better coming from you.
Yes. I like you said, I was very, very fortunate of living my childhood dream of playing professional golf, and it all started. I'll never forget it because it was in 1986. As a 9-year-old, I was watching Augusta with my parents down in South Africa, and it was in the middle of the night. Right around midnight, and they let me stay up and watch the golf. And that's when Jack Nicklaus was making that charge on the back nine when he was 46 years old. And he won the green jacket. And that night I was like, that's what I want to do with my life. I want to be a pro golfer. I want to play on TV one day. And, so that's where the dream started. Watching Jack Nicklaus, win the green jacket at age 46. And it's funny, I'm 47 now. I just cannot imagine myself, walking up the 18th green at Augusta,
You could still do it.
winning the Masters,
You could do it, Martin.
in my wildest dreams, maybe, but yeah, so the bug bit me then, and I was kind of obsessed with the game. Um, Ever since then, my dad started playing when I was born. So when I was 7, 8, 9 years old, he was a pretty good golfer. He was a 1, 2, 3 handicap, and so I would go to the course with him. And sometimes, push the trolley for 9 holes and be his caddy. And then when he finished the back 9, I'd be on the putting green, spending a couple of hours chipping and putting and waiting for them to finish. And then they'd go up to the pub and have a couple of drinks. And then I'd keep on putting and chipping, So so that's how I was introduced to the game, and very fortunate to play at a lovely country club, Pretoria Country Club, and fond memories of growing up on that course. And I probably spent 3, 4, 5 days a week out there, and played as much as I could, and until the sun went down. And so when I was about 12 years old, I was a scratch golfer. I just picked it up really, really quick, and showed some talent. And funny story, they actually invited me to play in the men's club championship at Pretoria Country Club, and I was 13 years old because I just won the junior club championship. So they're like, okay, come play the seniors, and ended up winning it as a 13-year-old. And
that's a good start.
and
That's
I
a
was,
good start.
yeah, that was a great start. And I wasn't even allowed in the pub to go get my trophy, because back in the when was that? That was right around 1990. They were pretty strict with the rules as far as kids in the pub. So they were doing the prize giving, and I was standing outside the pub. They announced my name. I ran in, grabbed the trophy, said a few words of thanks, and then I had to leave. And so that's got off to a great start as a junior golfer. Won a bunch of junior events down in South Africa. And ended up winning the South African Junior Championship 3 times. And the one year, the first prize was a trip to the States to spend 6 weeks in the summertime playing some AJGA, American Junior Golf Association events. And so that was my introduction to America. and they decided to. You might have heard of this guy's name, Trevor Immelman.
Rings a bell.
They yeah, maybe once or twice, and so they decided to bring him along as well. So the two of us traveled all over the states for 2 summers in a row. Playing some events. We had some great success. Trevor won the Junior World Championship at Torrey Pines.
Wow.
I finished third. I won the International Junior event up in Buffalo, New York. So we got a lot of attention from college coaches. And so we got recruited pretty heavily. I ended up getting a full scholarship to the University of Tulsa. And I'm still in Tulsa today, 30 years later. But so I did the college golf route as well. And so when I graduated, my senior year, I played really, really well. I was picked for the second team, the All-American team. And I figured, I'm good enough. Let's give this pro golf thing a go. And had some great success down in South Africa the first year or two. Always wanted to play in Europe. So I went to the qualifying school up there a couple of times, narrowly missed. But through the coast sanctioned events down in South Africa, you get some opportunities to play some events. And I had a very close call with Justin Rose down at the Dunhill Championship in Johannesburg. That was his first pro victory. And I kind of gave it to him on a silver platter.
No.
I kind of choked it on the Sunday coming down the stretch. I shot a 41 on the front 9 on Sunday to kind of squander the lead, and then finished. I think it was eagle, par, eagle, birdie, and I had a long putt on the 18th for another eagle to tie Justin and go into a playoff. But I ended up 3-putting and finished second. But it afforded me the opportunity to go play in Europe in a couple of events because I had some money on the money list. And so I got into the Wales Open and had a great week and ended up finishing fourth. Won enough money to secure my card on the now DP tour, DP World Tour. And so, I spent a good 5-6 years full time on that tour and just had a great time. And, looking back now, I was so spoiled, so fortunate to have traveled the world. I got to, travel to 47 countries, following my dream and chasing a little white golf ball around. And unfortunately, I don't have much to show for it, doing it for 12 or 13 years, but life experiences, I got to play in one major, the British Open, which is one of the highlights of my career. I qualified for the Tour Championship down in Valderrama one year. So a couple of big highlights that I can be very proud of. And I just wish that my career was a little bit longer. But I'm almost 50, so you never know. Maybe I've got unfinished business with this game, and so maybe senior tour in about 3 years.
Absolutely, you can start teeing it way forward like Bernard Langer and
yes,
get some PNC championships
that would be nice.
Under your belt. It'll be
yeah.
That's
maybe hit it about
Sorry.
I was going to say maybe hit it about two. I was going to say maybe hit it 270, 275 down the middle. I'll take that.
That's pretty clean. That's pretty cleaning up on the senior tour. But
on the seniors,
that's an amazing story, and it really shows like the moments in golf that maybe people don't hear the other side of the story. For instance, like Justin Rose now probably tells the story of winning his first event, and you probably hear that every time and think only because I gave it to you, which must be
I gave it to him. In a way, it's satisfying, and Justin is such an amazing story, and he's such a wonderful
Mm,
guy too. Him missing 21 cuts in a row, I think it was,
mm,
starting out as a pro. Um, I don't know if I would have had the mental strength to keep going, and for him to turn it around, win that first event down in South Africa, and now he's won a major. He's an Olympic champion, multiple Ryder Cup champion.
yeah,
He must have won maybe 25, 30 events worldwide, maybe even more. I'm,
incredible.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure. But just an incredible career that he's had. And it shows you nice guys can finish first.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you spoke of obviously Trevor Immelman as well, that you spent a good amount of time with in sort of
Yes.
junior golf and things like that. Did you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very difficult to tell, I guess, at a younger level. But did you know that there was something very special about Trevor's game in those years, or was it just a case of he worked
You
hard
know,
and he played well?
both. Both.
Okay, yeah,
Trevor was one of those once in a blue moon, once in a generation talent. Um, Even though I beat him a few times,
yeah, that's what we like to
but
hear.
yeah,
We like to
yeah,
hear.
but you could tell because Trevor's maybe 2 3 years younger than me,
Hmm.
so he was coming through the ranks when I was kind of finishing up my junior career. And oh man, he was cleaning up. He was winning everything, and he had one of the best short games
Mm,
I've ever seen. And he was just made for greatness.
mm,
And he had a very good um, team behind him. A
mm,
couple of people that backed him. I mean, he was almost like a pro golfer at age 13,
mm,
almost like he had a manager. And there were some companies looking to sponsor him when he turned pro, and so he had all this attention on him, which is maybe not always the best thing, maybe a little bit of pressure, but he handled it so well. And yeah, just he turned pro. I think he was 17 or 18, and just took off. Won a bunch, and then unfortunately later in his career, I think he had a couple of injuries,
mm.
but now he's doing a wonderful job doing the commentating
Yeah.
for CBS, and I love listening to him, and he's got so much knowledge
Mm.
about the game, and just a great personality for TV as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and picking up things, I guess, like with Trevor's, like Immelman's putting, that
Hmm.
everyone knows is just next level with short game, things like that. You probably found throughout your career that you picked up little things from each player, but I guess it's difficult to also recognize that you're different players. You have your own identity. Um,
Yes.
what would you say was the thing throughout your career? And it may not have been something that you necessarily harnessed, but something you always looked to attain to be a better golfer. Was there that idea in your head of what you wanted to do to become a better golfer? Was there a single thing, or was it like
Yes.
an evolving thing?
Well, so, looking at my game, I'm a pretty tall guy. I'm 6'5", and that was my claim to fame there for a while. Me and Robert Carlson, we were the two tallest players on the DP World Tour.
Right.
So I got that going for me, which is nice, right? Um, who cares about the trophies? You just want to be the tallest, right?
I'd take some of that height, to be
um,
honest. I'd be
yeah.
I'd willingly take some.
Um, Yeah, but so growing up in South Africa, Ernie Els, I mean, he hit it big, winning the U.S. Open at age 24, and I was about 10 years behind him, but I always looked up to Ernie and
Hmm.
Retief Goosen,
Hmm.
and they always, they have these beautiful swings,
Mm.
great rhythm and tempo, and so I always modeled my game, uh, you know, after those guys. And even though Nick Faldo was also a big influence on me back in the 90s,
Hmm.
since, he was kind of taking over the world then. So maybe I focused too much time on my golf swing, and my golf swing's always been pretty solid and always hit the ball pretty well, reasonably long. reasonably straight, hit a lot of greens. When I was having a good couple of years on the tour there, I was averaging probably 13 greens around, but unfortunately averaged, 30, 31 putts around, which if you hit a lot of greens, your putting stats don't always look good, bunch of two putts where, somebody might hit 6 greens and they're chipping it to a foot every time. And so they have 24 putts every round. So it's a little bit misleading on the putting stats.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my short game kind of held me back, to do great things. I was a very streaky putter, and I used the long putter there for 13, 14 years, and
full broom handle.
when I was on, I mean, broom handle when you could still lock it to the chest,
nice.
And it was like cheating, because I mean, it was just, you just rock it back and through, and man, when like I said, when I was on with the putter, I wouldn't miss, and but they decided to ban that, I think around, I don't know if it was around 2013 or so. It's been a while.
Right.
But now you can still use the long putter, and I kind of go back and forth between a long putter and a short putter, and putting left-handed. I've tried that just to try and get the ball in the hole. I've never had an issue with my swing or hitting the ball. It's just when you get to 50 yards and in, that's when the game starts, and that's where the great players differentiate themselves from the mediocre or the good players.
Yeah, it's when the pressure really ramps up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the first
I don't
tee
really
pressure is tough, but that ramping up on the greens is yeah.
And especially looking at my game, hitting so many greens, you don't have the opportunity to under the gun practice the chipping that much, right? So, if you miss 3 or 4 greens, maybe one is just off the edge, you can use the putter from there. And so you have that 1 or 2 chips around where you're under the gun. And so over time, the scar tissue just kind of builds up, and unfortunately, my short game just kind of held me back. And I don't want to blame it on anything, but when I came over to the States, I grew up on Kikuyu. I don't know if you're familiar with Kikuyu turf,
No.
Down in South Africa. It's a very thick bladed grass, and the ball just sits up really, really nice all the time. And so it's easy to nip those chips and get nice spin going. I come over to the States here in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and for the first time ever, I'm playing on Bermuda. And so I don't know if you're familiar with Bermuda. It's a very thin bladed turf, and so the ball just falls straight down in the rough. Very hard to predict how the ball is going to come out. Is it going to come out high and soft? Is it going to come out low and spinny? In the springtime when it's wet, it is atrocious. You get the worst lies ever. So it did kind of knock my confidence back a little bit. And I almost, well, not almost, but I got the chipping yips, which is an absolute. I would not want my worst enemy to get the chipping yips, because it's just not a fun thing to go through.
No.
And so, maybe if I went to Arizona in college or somewhere else where they have different kind of grasses, maybe it would have turned into a completely different career. You never know.
I guess that's it, isn't it? It's predicting that early, and like you said, maybe if there was a team around you, like what happened with Trevor Immelman's team, they'd have said to you, but being a youngster playing golf, you just want to go out and play golf. You're not necessarily forming a strategy for the future.
Yes.
How did you find?
I couldn't even think that far ahead. I was just worried about the next round of golf. Yeah.
How did you find playing over here? How did you find playing in England um with the grass over here and the rough over
Yeah,
here.
it's it's also a different type. I don't even know what it's called over there in England.
Normally muddy.
Yeah, muddy.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. I played Wentworth, the
Mm,
BMW, quite a few times. Golf course is stunning.
mm,
You play in Wales, and it's the rain's coming in sideways, and 30-mile-an-hour winds.
yeah,
Play up in Scotland, same thing. Ireland is always rainy. So it's all about the weather in England and UK, and
yeah. Yeah, you're
so you got
you're
to.
summing up the UK quite well, to be fair.
Yeah, and
Just
also, I
rains
mean,
a lot.
you've got 3 or 4 layers on,
Yep.
because it's usually pretty cold,
Hmm.
so it restricts your swing, and so yeah, it's different type of golf
Yeah.
compared to going down to Portugal or Spain or Dubai, where it's
Temporary
perfect. Where it's,
greens.
yeah,
That's what we deal
yes,
with over here, which is the worst thing in golf. There's not actually anything worse. Give me temporary tee boxes all day
yeah,
long over
yeah,
temporary
temporary
greens.
greens. That's
What's
no
the
fun.
point? What's the point?
Yeah,
Let's just get it on that green and then that's it.
yeah,
Everything counts as a two putt from there. It's fine. Let's
right,
not bother
right.
with temporary greens. I can't putt on a temporary green. It's like it's
Yes.
a terrible fairway normally. But
No, I know your golf season must be, quite short. I don't know. Do you get to play in? I was never around in December, January, February, March.
so
Can you get out
normally
and play?
basically you can play again, it depends on the year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's very unpredictable, but you can normally play. I played all the way up till I think the last round that I had was sort of like mid-December.
Mm.
Um and I know there's friends of mine are still playing at the moment. It's just for me, I look at it and think I'm not going to have a good time. So what's
Yeah.
the point? But then we'll probably ramp back up again in March.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Very
sort of.
similar, very similar to Tulsa, yeah, in
Mm,
Oklahoma. I mean, you can get lucky with the odd day or two where it's sunny and
hmm
20 degrees Celsius or so, and it's perfect. But this morning we got some snow and sleet, and
hmm
nobody's going to be playing golf the next few days. That's for sure.
I shouldn't be
Yeah.
smiling. I shouldn't be smiling about that, but I should be
Yeah.
smiling. But that
Yeah.
is. I mean, that's. It's difficult sometimes over here because you think, oh, in America they were just playing all the time, because
Yeah.
that's what you see on Instagram and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
if you live in Arizona or Florida, yeah, all these
Exactly.
Instagram golfers or San Diego,
Yeah.
they can golf every day,
Yeah, I was
so
talking to Jeremiah from Athlon's footwear
mhm.
yesterday. It would have been last week on the podcast, and yeah, he was
Yeah,
telling me it was like 70 degrees, and it was tough to
it's
talk
not
to him,
fair.
to be honest,
It's not
because of
fair.
that.
Yeah.
But that's
I'm
that.
jealous. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, at the same time, I mean, we've talked about the people that you met along the way and everything like that, but your career itself is impressive. The longevity of it, the fact that you were able to play for that long. I mean, you also played in the era of a dominant Tiger Woods. Obviously, it was a different tour. He was playing the
Yeah.
PGA Tour at that time, but how, how did you find? Because you must have been in the moment when golf was just
Yeah. It was booming.
it was booming.
Yeah.
I remember basically my introduction to golf. I played a little bit, but watching golf on telly. I mean by this. Um,
Mm.
was with my granddad, who was
Mhm.
a big like Freddie Couples fan. He had my granddad like in his 70s had like a Nintendo 64 that we used to. Oh no, sorry, Sega Mega Drive, and on that we'd have
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, sorry, PGA Tour '97, and we'd be
Hmm.
playing that. So I'd play with like Freddie Couples and all those players and stuff, and watching all of a sudden this guy in Tiger Woods almost just completely elevate the game beyond anything it had been before was incredible. How was it at that time playing
Hmm.
that? You're literally playing the same game at a tour level. How did you
It
find
was
the
it was
the
it
change?
was incredible. No, it was incredible. I missed him by, I think it was 1 or 2 years in college.
Right.
He played at Stanford. Um, it was actually one of my claims to fame. I won the Stanford Intercollegiate my senior year, And the year or two before, Tiger would have played. So luckily I missed him. but
You might have beat
Paul
him.
Casey, but Paul Casey was there, and Luke Donald. They played in that one.
Wow.
But you just heard the stories about him in college just dominating. He would win college events by 15 or 20 strokes. And when he came over to Dubai is where I played against him. I also played against him. I think it was the Deutsche Bank in Germany. Those were probably the two ones that he would come over and play. I think it was the Deutsche Bank.
Mm-hmm.
But he just had that presence, that intimidation factor. I'll never forget, I was on the range in Dubai warming up for my round. And they had grandstands set up on the range for the crowd to kind of watch people warm up. But obviously behind me, there's nobody sitting there. Nobody cared about watching me warm up. But then you hear the all the footsteps and the ruckus, and it's like, okay, Tiger must be showing up. So I look over, and Tiger's standing about 10 feet away from me. And I look up the range and I look down the range, and there's no spot for Tiger. Right. And he's just kind of standing there. And so I turn to Tiger and I go, "Hey, Tiger, do you want me to move down, a few feet? Then you can squeeze in front of me."
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like a death stare, like he was the Terminator, and didn't say a word. He just turned around and walked off. And I was kind of taken aback.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if it was later that year or maybe the next year, I saw him up in Germany, and I'm teeing off on the first hole, just a practice round. And kind of same thing, we're waiting for the group to clear on the fairway, and all of a sudden there's just hundreds of people running up to the first tee. And I'm like, what's going on here? And I look over to my right, and there's Tiger Woods standing on the tee. Immediately, my heart rate went up, and it felt like my heart was going to jump out of my chest. And this is on a Wednesday. So I cannot even imagine what a Sunday back nine would feel like, with Tiger fist pumping and making 6 birdies in a row, charging up the leaderboard. I mean, I cannot fathom what that would feel like, because
amazing,
just him standing on the tee watching me hit a shot,
Mm.
I could feel the nerves, and so just his presence. And I think that's why so many people probably crumbled on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Do
Do you think, because you had that experience
Yeah.
on the range with him, obviously, and
Yeah.
people will look at that and go like, why don't you just say like, no, it's all good, thanks? But his upbringing and
Yeah.
the way he was taught to approach the game
Hmm.
was really to make sure that he had this air about him,
Yes.
and he had this way of intimidating people and
Yes.
everything like that. So imagine if he'd have gone to you like, it's okay, Martin, you carry
Yeah.
on. That almost takes a little bit of the mystique of Tiger away, right?
Absolutely, because I would see him in the clubhouse sometimes, walking in with these shades on, not even acknowledging anybody around him. He was there for one reason and one reason only, and that's to win the tournament.
Yeah.
And I know he's changed a lot now. He seems a lot more relaxed. He talks to his fellow playing partners a lot more and joking around and things like that. But yeah, he definitely wasn't like that between 99 and say 2010.
Yeah.
Well,
let's see if
definitely
that, I
very
reckon that would
intimidating.
change quite quickly if he got in contention on a Saturday
Yes.
afternoon, though.
Yeah, he'd probably switch it back on very, very quickly. Yeah.
Absolutely, because you don't lose that, do you? You might lose
No.
the ability to maintain it, because it must have been, I mean, it obviously was wearing on him,
Yes.
that amount
Yeah.
of time of being that closed off.
Hmm.
I guess in many ways a professional sportsman is selfish, and that was almost taking it to a next level to be as successful,
Yeah.
as he was. And I guess when you look at players like Rory, I mean, I think the whole golfing world wants Rory McIlroy to win another major.
Yes, yeah, and
Ideally,
especially at Augusta,
if
yeah,
he can
to
do it in
finish up
April,
the Grand Slam, yeah,
absolutely. But does he have that in him? And you
yeah,
don't have to win majors, obviously. Like, you don't have to do
hmm
it. But I think
hmm
everyone really thought he was the heir to the crown. Rory, with the way
yeah,
he burst onto the scene, and he still is an incredible
yeah.
golfer. Has achieved,
Oh, I just
insane.
cannot believe how far he hits the ball for, you know,
He's my height. He's
yeah,
5'9". He's like,
unbelievable. I think he averages 336 or something like that. I mean, ball
yeah.
speed of 183. Ah, unbelievable,
I went
unbelievable.
when I went for a fitting the other day. They used the words Rory McIlroy in the fitting, so I then took that as, well, they think I can be like Rory McIlroy. And I said at the end, I said, thanks guys, and I really appreciate comparing me to Rory
Yeah.
McIlroy. And I left before they could say anything. It turns
Yeah.
out they were just talking about our setup could be the same
Uh,
as Rory Mac. Everybody's setup could
you're
be
actually
Rory.
using the same driver as what Rory's
Yeah,
using. Yeah,
yeah. But I
it's
didn't hear
not
any of that.
performing the same, but
I,
yeah,
I literally, closed the ears off. La 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 la
yeah,
la. I'm Rory
yeah,
McIlroy, which
yeah,
is which is unbelievable. But so
yeah.
you played in the, like you said, was it 49 countries? Is that right? Am I getting that right?
47. I'm up to
47.
47. I spent 1 year in Asia on the Asian tour when I lost my DP World Tour card, and
Hmm.
that was a wonderful experience as well. I could move to Asia tomorrow.
Yeah.
I love the tropical feel. The golf courses are amazing. People are super nice, and
Mm.
yeah, I enjoyed my time, and I got to play in India, Hong Kong, Macau, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia. It was wonderful. It was
Beautiful.
wonderful. Yeah.
And of all those places that you've been, 47 different countries that you've been to, this is going to be a very difficult question for you to answer, but
Yeah.
I have to ask this question.
Yeah.
If you can't give me your favorite course, which
Yeah.
hopefully maybe you can, you're looking confident that you
Favorite
can.
course, pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Let's
Favorite
do it.
course.
What's your
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
favorite course you've played?
Loch Lomond in Scotland.
Really?
Yes. And
Okay.
but the reason for it is I got a double eagle, albatross, during the tournament.
Yeah.
And I was tied for the lead with 3 holes to play as well. And this was in 2004.
Hmm.
So, I almost won the Scottish Open. I ended up fifth in the end because I doubled the 70th hole, the 16th. Ernie
Wow.
Els ended up winning that week, but just I love that golf course. Even though it's in Scotland, it doesn't feel like it's in Scotland
Okay.
because it's more of a woodlands,
Hmm.
parkland type course,
Yep.
and greens are fantastic, and it's the most one of the most beautiful settings I've ever seen.
Okay. Wow.
So I would say Loch Lomond is my all-time
That's not
favorite
what I was
golf course.
expecting. It's
Yeah,
like lovely to hear,
yeah,
because that's also a
yeah,
course that people you can get there. It's not it's
yeah,
available for people to play if you're able to
yes,
do that, which is
yeah.
important. I mean, yeah, I really like parkland courses. That's where I
hmm
grew up playing
I
golf,
grew up on a
basically.
on a on a parkland course, and lots of trees, and um,
I like
you
the
know,
punishing. I like the punishing aspect of parkland course. I think that's
yeah,
something a little bit sick inside of me, but I don't want people to be able to spray it everywhere off
yeah,
the tee.
and then yeah, hit across fairways
I
and
don't
and
know.
things like that.
It doesn't sit right with me. You
You
should be
know,
punished for
yeah,
that.
yeah. And I like links golf, but I've just never had too much success
Okay.
playing links. I've played Carnoustie and the Daniel links,
Hmm.
St Andrews, Kings Barnes is beautiful as well.
Mm.
Royal St George's for the British Open.
Hmm.
Definitely a different type of golf, more on the ground. You got to flight your ball a bit different. Most of the time, the turf is pretty firm,
Hmm.
and so you got to be very creative and watch for the
Mm.
bounces, and that's one thing about St Andrews. You don't see any of the bunkers in the fairway,
Mm.
So you're kind of blindly just aiming down the fairway and just hope you're getting a good bounce,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of luck involved as well, I
Yeah.
feel.
I was we were talking before. I was at a simulator the other night, and we had this conversation of, you know, St Andrews. You pick it up and you move it somewhere else, and it's not the
Hmm.
same place. Like the course itself, you know, there's pluses to it, and there's some really good
Yes.
holes in there for sure. Like
Hmm.
there's some iconic holes,
Yeah.
but there's quite a few sort of dull, dare I say,
Yeah. Just yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
dull
Kind of
holes that.
mediocre-ish.
Yeah. You know, obviously it's a great tournament,
Yeah.
and the Open's going back there again,
Yeah.
which is great because it should.
Hmm.
It's the home of golf. It deserves to.
Oh, home of golf, the traditions, the walking over the 18th bridge,
Mm,
the 17th, the road hole. There's just no other place like it.
exactly.
Um,
It's a
but
bucket list course for me, but
oh,
I've not been able to
absolutely.
play it. But
Every golfer, they have to experience it. It's kind of like Pebble Beach in America.
mm,
It's a course I've never played. I've stood
mm,
on the 18th green, so that's a bucket list golf course for me.
hmm
I've been there. I've seen the beauty of it. I've just never played it.
right.
So hopefully one day. But I hear it's like $700-800 to play now.
I
It's
think it's gone up.
ridiculous. And
I think it's gone up.
yeah.
I think there's about 900, 900,
Oh
and
my goodness.
next year
And I
it'll be
think
a
you have to
thousand.
stay. And I think you have to stay in the resort or something. I
Mm.
don't know. I don't know how I'm ever going to afford it. But
I think it's basically like a if you're gonna do it properly, and obviously
yeah.
that means if you're staying there, you're probably gonna play a few courses. You know,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
make a weekend of
Hmm.
it. It's probably what 10,000. It's probably a ten
Yeah.
thousand dollar,
For the week. Yeah. 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 And
which
then
is tough.
yeah. But then another one that comes to mind, Loch Lomond's all-time favorite for me.
Hmm.
And you've probably heard of this golf course down in South Africa. It's called Leopard Creek.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, mm.
Unbelievable.
That looks
Uh,
incredible,
with the
incredible.
views
Yeah,
into the Kruger Park, the setting there is spectacular.
the
You know,
wildlife as well.
wildlife. Yeah, you get to. Um, I'll never forget when I played the Daniel Championship there. This must have been 2011, 2012, right at the end of my playing career. I stayed in the Kruger Park, about 25-minute drive from the
Mm,
from the golf course. So the one morning driving to Leopard Creek, I saw the Big Five.
no way.
I
That's
saw lion,
unreal.
yeah, lion, rhino, buffalo, elephant, and a leopard
Just on the drive in.
in just on the drive in. Can you imagine?
That's crazy. Do you know what? I don't get that here in Seaford.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, not really. I
What
see
kind
the
of wild animals do you see down
well, I
at the
mean,
pub?
I won't comment. I won't comment. You know, but I see Tesco Express.
Oh,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
there's a Morrison's. You know,
Yeah,
that's about
yeah.
all I see over
Maybe
here.
on the tube, going
Yeah,
somewhere. Yeah, yeah.
but that is. I
Is that
mean,
what
what
you
a
call it?
place.
The tube?
What do we? The underground. Yeah.
Underground? Oh, the underground. Yeah,
We
yeah.
don't not down. We don't have that down here. That's just that's purely London, really.
Oh, more London.
That
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. We
Is
have to catch trains to get to the underground.
I got you. I
Um,
got you.
and
Yeah,
the privilege of that is then you walk out at the end of the day with your nose full of all black soots,
yes.
which is
Mm-hmm.
lovely. And yet we do it
Yeah,
because it's part of, you go up to
yeah.
London. That's great.
My first year in Europe, we rented a house in Hounslow,
Hmm.
very close to Heathrow Airport.
Hmm.
And so I'm very familiar with that. The
Yeah.
traffic and oh, just the hustle and bustle of London is just it's not for everybody.
No.
I did that for about 2 years or so, and then we decided to move up to Manchester. And
Hmm.
Manchester was a little bit better of an experience and a little bit more laid back and
Yeah.
relaxed.
Lots of golf as well. Lots of golf. I'll put
Yes,
that way. Like
yeah,
very
yeah,
accessible golf as well. Like in Manchester.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's
London is just it's very. I think a lot of private clubs,
yeah.
and yeah, not as accessible as Manchester would be.
Which is interesting, isn't it? Because you look at
Hmm.
London and like how it relates to New York in many ways. But
Hmm.
New York, there's much more of a public golf um
Yeah.
like setting, isn't it? You look at like the courses available there, a lot of them are public tracks. Obviously
Yeah. Yeah.
there is the clubs and the exclusive
Yeah.
part, but it's interesting that London hasn't really sort of followed that model, which
Hmm.
maybe will change.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe, but
Hmm.
whilst it's working for them, and
Yeah.
we were talking before, and your story at the beginning of winning the championship at your when you were a junior at your club,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the fact you couldn't really even go into the actual bar to
The
collect
pub. Yeah. The bar. Yeah.
your trophy. You had to nip in, nip out before basically
Yeah.
anyone saw you.
Yes.
And the fact that golf is changing, golf is becoming
Yes.
more accessible, more inclusive, and I think that's great. I think everyone agrees across the board that you want
Absolutely.
more people, you want younger people coming into the game, you want people who are older who maybe looked at golf as being this sport that they weren't interested in because golf
Yeah.
wasn't interested in them. They're
Yeah.
now seeing it as something different, and that's fantastic.
I
But
think, yeah. Sorry, I was just going to say that, I think one of the only good things coming out of the COVID pandemic was, golf really took off,
yeah,
and everybody wanted to be outside and wanted to play golf. And I think golf is in a great spot right now. Like you said, just all walks of life,
yeah,
getting interested in the game. Fashion has changed.
hmm
I remember at my country club where I grew up, it was a little bit stuffy back in the 80s and 90s. And I remember we even when we wore shorts, we had to wear long socks. You know, so we had the
hmm
the, the knee tans.
yeah. It's a great look. It's a great look.
Man, looking back, that was probably the worst look ever. But yeah, I don't know when they abolished that. I think it was in the 90s, some mid
Mm,
90s maybe. I don't know if that was the same in England, but yeah, if you wore
yeah.
shorts, you had to wear long socks. Um,
It was a
and
little slow over
obviously,
here, I think. I think that did stay in. I mean, I think that did stay in for quite a long time.
long, long
I
time.
remember
Yeah,
seeing signs up. I've always kind of been a trouser. I've always worn trousers playing golf
yeah,
pretty much exclusively, unless it's literally too hot to do it. I don't know. It's
yeah,
just a personal thing. I always just was
yeah.
like, I prefer to wear trousers when I play golf. But
Hmm.
I definitely remember seeing signs, and I remember people being turned away from golf courses, and that must have been in the mid sort of like 2005 sort of time.
Yeah, yeah,
So it
yeah.
stayed for a long
So it
time. Yeah,
stayed a little bit longer in
yeah,
England, maybe, or the
yeah,
UK.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it's interesting to see how fashion has changed over the years, and now, you have the lost luggage collection
yeah.
that just got dropped, a couple of days ago. You
I
go
think
from,
we have to talk
yeah,
about that. We have to talk about
yeah,
that. It's so hard, isn't it? Because like you said, I like the fact that there's different choices available for people on the golf
yes,
course. But I just golf has to be careful also of not moving so far away from, in my
yeah,
opinion, moving so far away from its traditions that it
yes,
loses a little bit of its soul.
yeah,
Um, and you don't look back at that time when you weren't allowed in the clubhouse to collect the trophy with
yeah.
sad memories,
No,
you know, because it was a
no.
place you weren't allowed, but that was also okay.
It was the tradition. It was
Mm,
the history of it. Um, no. Going back to the club now, they made me an honorary member, which is
that's
fantastic.
so
I'm
nice.
very, very proud of that. To see my name on the board in the pub where I wasn't allowed to go, it's pretty amazing. I'm all for tradition and history. I'm a little bit of an old school golfer.
Mm.
But it's nice to see the modern trends and new fashion trends coming along, and you kind of have to adapt.
Yeah,
If you don't, you stay behind.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
But at the same time, someone needs to have a word with Jason Day about the about.
I cannot believe he got away with it.
It shows
You know,
his personality, and like he
yeah,
is that guy, isn't he? Jason Day is
yeah,
that guy who and one he looks pretty
yeah.
good, like wearing a
Yeah, he pulls it off.
yeah.
You know, I would look like a joke if I showed up there in tracksuit pants and
He's got the confidence that he
yeah,
confidently pulls it
he's
off.
got the game. He's got the game to back it up. Let's put
It,
it that way. Yeah.
but it was so surprising that they let him out in that, when you consider what people have been stopped for before, and even Jason
Yes.
Day, when you look at the Masters, I mean, when he was wearing
Yeah.
that V-neck, it wasn't really. I didn't really understand why he had to take it off, other than the fact that what was it, because it was
it
matching the
said something
colours of.
about the Melbourne Championship, and
Okay,
it was going against the actual tournament going on. You know, and I
right,
think that was the problem. It was more the logo on his sweater
at
vest.
Augusta, yeah,
Then yeah, and then I think he had to cover up the big logo on his back at Torrey
okay,
Pines a couple of weeks ago too, because the way I understand it, the logo was too big. I
right.
so I don't know. It's
There's some weird rules still out there, isn't there, on
very
that sort
weird
of stuff?
rules out
But then you
there.
find wearing a
Yes.
full tracksuit. That was
Yeah, or these jogger pants, you know, with
yeah,
the
yeah.
where you have some ankle cleavage showing. It's just you know, with me being tall, it's just not a good look for me. You know, nobody
See,
wants
I
to see my ankles. You know.
I need depth perception, so I think I might move into the jogger. To be honest, I need that idea of length in the legs, so I
Yeah.
might move into the jogger.
But it's just funny that they've gone from baggy pants. You know, Tiger used to wear the
Yeah,
real baggy. You
slacks,
know,
like yeah,
yeah,
pleated
blowing in the
slacks.
wind to like the skinny jeans look, and now they're kind of going back to a little bit more relaxed
Yeah,
again. So it's interesting to see the trends.
yeah, we got a few
Um,
companies over here in the UK that are going back to that very sort of um,
pleated
pl-
pleated pants
yeah.
or trousers. Yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
I'm at that awkward age where I just don't know if I can pull it off. I feel like an 18-year-old can do
Yeah.
it. Can do it.
Yeah. Yes.
I wore some
Hmm.
interesting clothes
Yeah.
when I was 18, and that's fine. That's the age to get away
Yeah.
with it. Now, as a
Yeah.
dad of two, I feel like it would be tough. I feel like my
Yeah.
friends would
To
laugh
put,
at me.
yeah. You know, I like I mentioned to you, Nick Faldo was one of my
Mm,
heroes growing up. So back in the mid '90s, when he was a Pringle guy,
yeah, yeah,
Pringle is that's a UK brand,
yeah.
right?
With the sort of diamonds, like the yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Uh, and so he had all these colorful sweaters as well, and pink hats and bright colored hats, and so I wanted to dress like him, So I tried to copy him all I could with he had the Mizuno hat too because he was
that's
sponsored by
right.
Mizuno. So Mizuno hat, I had to have a Pringle sweater,
Yep.
and yeah, so that was the '90s look, and
Hmm.
then Tiger came along and kind of changed it for the 2000s, and now it's just kind of like a free for all,
Hmm.
you can have your own style out there and you know be an individual, which
Yeah,
which is nice,
yeah,
and that's one thing I really enjoy about golf fashion and trying to design some golf clothes. It's like there's no rules really when it
absolutely.
comes to colors and patterns, and some people like kind of the conservative, kind of maybe a subtle stripe or just kind of a bland, just
Yeah.
one color, and then somebody's just wild and crazy and whatever goes.
That
you know
leads us
Hawaiian
nicely.
print with
Ex-
crazy trousers or shorts or whatever, and not even matching in colors, so
exactly. But
yeah, you can.
that leads us nicely into your now next steps. Obviously, the golf career for now it's on
Mhm.
hold. I'd
Yeah,
like to say the golf career.
yeah,
I still see that seniors tour just calling you.
yeah. It's
Um,
unfinished business. Yeah,
Unfinished business. I think that'll be
yeah,
the title of the Netflix
yeah,
documentary.
yeah,
Um, but that obviously now into a new phase
yeah,
where you have now your apparel brand. which is Birdies and Bogeys Golf Gear.
Yeah.
So what was it that, when was that spark moment of, I want to create this brand, I want to create this apparel brand?
Yeah.
What was that for you?
Let me back up a little bit, if I may.
You may.
So, growing up, young kid in South Africa, my dad was in construction engineering, and so he worked with a bunch of architects, and he had a home office set up at home. So he would bring home these model buildings made out of like styrofoam, little fake trees, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm a very visual person. And so, I saw these big blueprints that he brought home. And so for the longest time, I wanted to be an architect. Okay, so because I love drawing, I loved painting. I even took art in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so always, drawing golf courses on napkins, always trying to design. So I've always had it in me. And so when I played in Asia that one year, it was 2007, I was fascinated by these little pop-up factories that they had over there in Thailand and Philippines and Malaysia. You could take your favorite pair of trousers or your favorite shirt, go to the tailor, drop it off, and say, "Hey, can you make me 3 of these?" And they're like, "Be back at 5 o'clock." And they would take it apart, they would copy it, and they would make you your own custom wear, And so I think that's where my interest really sparked, and Ian Poulter was also probably a big influence, because I played with Ian a couple of times on the
Mm-hmm.
DP World Tour, and I mean, some of the outfits he wore, I mean, a
And the highlights.
little bit on the,
Don't forget the highlights either. They were,
the blue hair and the red
yeah.
hair,
Oh,
and
there was some
you
moments.
know, but some of the outfits I really really liked that he was wearing. Some were a little bit too much out there,
Yeah.
and so yeah, you could walk up to that tailor in Thailand and just tell him, "Hey, make me this," and he's like, "Okay, be back in an hour, and I'll have it ready for you." And so that sparked my interest. And then during COVID, this was in 2020, we were stuck at home, working from home for about 9 months. And I kept hearing these stories from my friends back in South Africa and Europe, tournaments getting canceled, lost sponsorships. They couldn't even practice at their home clubs. And so it took away all of the avenues of making money, right, as a professional golfer. And so I woke up one morning and I had this idea that I've always wanted to start a little golf company. I've always wanted to design my own apparel, and even if it's just for myself, hey, I can have a golf outfit nobody else can have. So the idea was born. Why don't I start a little golf company? And in a way, if it becomes successful, I would love to be able to sponsor a couple of up and coming youngsters that want to make it out on tour, sponsor them with apparel, maybe even sponsor them with, if the brand takes off and it does well, I can use the money to help them with their expenses, whether it's flights or hotels, entry fees. And so that's how the idea was born. And, 3 years down the road, um, we've come a long way. I was maybe a little bit naive at the time, thinking it's going to be easy. It's definitely not.
Mm.
But I've built up some great relationships with a couple of different vendors and factories and suppliers. I'm getting much, much better with my designs. I think my first few designs were horrible, to be honest with you. But you live and you learn, And so it is my ultimate goal to get this company to a place where I can make an impact,
Mm.
but also supply, great options for golfers that want to, show some personality, bring some good vibes. I like to say we don't sell golf polos. We sell good vibes, we sell personality, and we sell compliments.
Yeah.
Because if you wear our stuff, you're going to get compliments.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of my tagline. And that's why I wanted to do this. It's been fun. It's been hard work, but I love designing. I'm working on a couple of custom pieces right now for some people, and the back and forth is like, hey, can you change this? Oh, give me a second. Let me work on it, and come up with a design that everybody just loves,
Yeah.
and so that gets me excited. And it doesn't feel like work
No.
because it's something I really enjoy, and hopefully 2025, 2026 will be a couple of good years for us, and we'll continue to grow. Right now, we're just in the US, but would love to expand into Europe and the
Mm.
UK, eventually down to South Africa, and worldwide. Why not?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they the question is, okay, so why did you come up with the golf bag logo,
Mm.
and why birdies and bogeys? If I can explain why,
Mm.
um, and you might have the same kind of feeling about this. So my parents used to take me to pro golf events when I was younger down in South Africa, and guys like Nick Felder would come, and Corey Pavin,
Mm.
John Daly,
Mm.
Nick Price,
Mhm.
legends of the game.
Mm.
And I was so excited to go watch these guys, and so I would try and get as close to them as I could. You know what the coolest thing for me was back then was to see a player's name on their golf bag,
Yeah.
on their pro staff golf bag.
Yeah.
Because for me, that meant you have reached the pinnacle of the game.
Yeah.
If you have your name on your golf bag. So that always stuck with me. And, when I was trying to come up with a logo idea for my company, I was like, that's what I want. Because that is, once you have your name on your bag, you've made it. You've
Yeah.
you've you've reached your goals. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, but you at the top of you in the 1%
Yeah.
of the game. And it's something to, for any golfer to aspire to. It's like, hey, I want to get my name on my bag
Yeah. Yeah.
eventually, on
Yeah.
that pro bag, so that's
Absolutely.
that's why I came up with that. It's always just a reminder of, the reaching for the stars kind of thing. And then, with the birdies and bogeys, you cannot have the one without the other.
Mhm.
Life is full of birdies and bogeys, lots of ups and downs, and I've experienced it in my career. But without making bogeys, you never can appreciate how good a birdie feels,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I came up with the birdies and bogeys, because that's just everyday life, ups and downs, and the golf bag logo. So I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. I love
In,
I
in in my mind, it does.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it because it's that idea of the experience of life that goes on, the experience of being on the golf course, and then also that fundamental reason why you keep going back, you keep trying to get better because
Yeah.
everyone's trying to reach their own pinnacle of what they would want to
Yes.
achieve on the golf course, whether that be somebody that year wanting to break 80, break 90 for the first
Yes.
time.
Yes.
That's
Hmm.
their golf bag for that year.
Yes.
That's their
That's
name on
that's
that golf
the
bag.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's amazing. That's great, and it shows that your passion. I mean, when we spoke early on, when we spoke, I could tell that your passion um wasn't in necessarily the, let's chuck out a load of golf gear. Let's
Hmm.
try and just throw a load of polos out there, hope one of
Yeah.
them sticks.
Yeah.
That's not why you got into this. And I could
No.
tell that through your excitement of just wanting to create products, create someone's identity through what they wear on the golf course, or outside
Exactly.
of the golf course.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the great thing about golf gear and golf outfits. You know, I wear my golf gear to my day job every day, and then you're ready to go straight to the golf course.
It's
And
perfect.
even some of the pieces you can wear out on a night out.
Yeah.
So it's I love that about golf outfits. Yeah, you can show your personality through your clothes and but it's also functional, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're both rocking the Letterman jacket at the moment,
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah.
honestly, when I received this, when we spoke about it, first of all, and you were like, "Look, what do you think of this?" And you
Yeah.
showed it to me. I was blown away because when I've got your logo on there, and I've got
Yeah.
the BirDie Golf Club podcast logo. So,
Yeah.
it's an audio podcast. It doesn't translate as well, but it's just
Yeah.
go head to Instagram. The
Yeah.
jacket will be on there for everyone to see, and it's just unbelievable detail having the logo on the back. And I wore it out for the first time, and as you said, you're going to receive compliments on the clothing because
Yeah.
it is that different. It's a bit of we said it's quite a statement piece. This jacket,
Yes,
isn't it?
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
a guy who I didn't know at all literally walked past and was like, "Nice jacket." And
Oh, that's
in the
awesome.
UK, that's a big deal.
That's a
Compliments are
that's
not
a big
handed
deal.
out. They're not
Yes.
handed out in the
Yeah.
UK, you
Yeah.
know. And the fact that it then inspired you as well to get your Letterman jacket which you've got on
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and wearing it out is really cool. It's really cool. And
No, that
I feel part of that process, and I did very little, but I think that's the joy
yeah.
of being involved, you know.
But it all comes from a little bit of inspiration, maybe you have a favorite color
Mm,
or, whether it's a stripe or whatever it may be. You put that on a um, piece of clothing and you put it on. I mean, it almost it almost transforms you.
mm,
And nothing makes me feel better when I'm out and about, going to a client meeting or something, and somebody's like, "Man, that's a nice polo you got on there. What brand is that?" Well, let me tell you about it. I actually designed this one, so it really fills me with joy
yeah,
when that happens. It tells me I'm doing something right, and there's something to look forward to in the future.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And where do you so like you said that involvement as well in the helping out of tour pros, maybe younger guys
Yeah.
who are getting into the game with aspirations and stuff. I mean, that comes from a place of you obviously being very aware that some people view being a tour pro as being, money's coming in left, right, and center. But I think with things like YouTube and stuff like that now, people are getting a better glimpse of what it's
Yes.
actually like for 99% of tour pros, basically.
Yeah.
That it is a real struggle. It's a real struggle. So being able to help, that obviously means a lot to you.
Yeah.
What are some of the sort of experiences that you found through the people that you've spoken to and your own experience as well on that of the difficulty of just trying to pay your way?
I mean, just if you use my career as a measuring stick,
Mm.
I had a mediocre or almost good career.
Hmm.
For 12 years, I played in a little over 400 events. So a career spanning about 13 years. And at the end of the 13 years, I pretty much broke even. Um, Nothing to really show for it,
Mm.
except for traveling to 47 countries and wonderful life experiences. But and my highest ranking in the world was 182, which I'm very proud of.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, there's 800 or another 1,000 golfers that are ranked below that
Mm.
that just scraping by, trying to make the cut this week so they can pay for the next. That top 10, 20% of the tour pros, I mean, they're making millions. They're living a very, very nice life. But the rest of us, I always saw myself as kind of a journeyman pro. It's like, okay, let me go to Australia to try and go make some money there, and then I'll go to Hong Kong and
Mm-hmm.
kind of all Morocco, Kenya,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
all over the place. Um, and there's a lot of pros like that out there, and without the backing and support of a great group behind you, sponsors, family support, it's a very, very lonely and tough life.
Mm.
And I don't think people really see that. They see the Rory McIlroys, the Justin Thomas, the Scotty Schefflers, and those guys, flying in private jets all over the place, and every other day they're on a TV show and things like that. And yes, that is what's possible. But 99% of the other pros are, sleeping in motel rooms or even in their cars.
Yeah.
I slept in my car a couple of nights, on the road, as a rookie starting out, and driving, 20 hours across the U.S. to go Monday qualify for back then it was, I think, buy.com or Nike Tour events. So yeah, I would love to be able to help some of those folks that are living the dream, and I want them to experience that, because there's nothing like it. And I was very lucky to be able to chase my dream for 13 years, and a lot of people just don't have that opportunity.
I think it shows as well, like you said, because obviously people do think of the Scotties, the Rorys, and the John
Hmm.
Rahms and stuff like that of this world. But I think Scotty was well documented in saying the toughest round, most nervous he's ever been was when he was, in contention to get his PGA Tour card from Corn Ferry Tour,
Yeah,
because that's like huge. That moment is huge, but yet people think, oh, it must be when he first won on PGA
yeah,
Tour, and it's like, no, like that moment of security. I think
yeah,
that's probably the thing that everyone searches for in golf, right? Is that security of knowing I've got this amount of events next year, and especially now. I mean, it's changed a bit, hasn't it? Now with the fact that they've got
yeah.
a guaranteed amount of money that they'll make on that level of the
That
tour.
would have been nice back in the day, that's
That
for
would have
sure,
been very
because
nice.
every year I started out in January, you've got your schedule kind of worked out, and it's like, okay, I've got 35 events that I'm going to go play in this year. And I usually played a lot,
Mm,
because I played in Europe, and then in the winter time I'd go play in South Africa. So I'd play double,
yeah,
I never had off
non-stop.
season,
Yeah, yeah,
non-stop, which was great for my game, because the more I played, the better I played. I couldn't take a month off or 6 weeks off and then afford to take 3 weeks to kind of get the game back up. So I played a lot and I enjoyed that, but it's a lot of travel and a lot of expenses.
yeah,
So if you miss two, three, four, five, six cuts in a row, you're like, okay, when's the next paycheck coming?
yeah.
And it makes you more and more nervous, if you have a mortgage to pay and,
Snowball
kids
effect
at
after
home,
that.
and
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And then, most golfers, they have those 2, 3, 4 weeks a year that they peak.
Mm,
And that's when you make most of your money, is in that short amount of time. And so you're just hoping that you're going to play really, really well for about 3 or 4 events
really,
and make
wow.
enough money to keep your card. And it's almost like going for a job interview every year,
Hmm.
unless you win something, because then you get a 2, 3 year exemption.
Mm,
And I never won a tour event. I had a couple of seconds, so I never had that luxury of, oh, I'm safe for 2 or 3 years. So every year I had to go interview for my job,
oh,
and it
yeah.
makes
People
it
just
makes it
don't
tough.
look at it that way, do they?
No,
They really don't look at it. I mean, you were traveling. Did you have a caddy that you regularly use, or did you use a local caddy?
I
Or
you know my best friend caddied for me for a while. We grew up together in South Africa, but then he moved to the States permanently. And so you'd pick up a caddy, just kind of, there'd be guys just showing up at tournaments trying to get a bag.
Mm.
And then sometimes, you'd pick up a really good one, and then you'd stay together for a couple of months
Yeah.
until it kind of fades. And, uh, us golfers, you always have to blame somebody, and usually it's
Mm-hmm.
the caddy.
They're
It's,
gone
oh,
the
it's the
moment it
caddy's
goes
fault. They're
badly.
gone.
Yeah,
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 go
yeah.
find you another bag. It's all your fault. And so I went through a few different caddies, but yeah, some of the top guys. I mean, they were the same caddy for years.
Mm.
And it's so important to have somebody on the bag that really supports you. They know when to speak up, maybe
Mm.
when to stay quiet, how to motivate you. You know, because I just know it's easy to get down on yourself. So you need somebody that can really lift your spirits, and kind of be a shoulder to cry on sometimes, and somebody that's just that positive influence on you.
I think because I was a bit outspoken early on in the podcast about the fact that Rory needs a new caddy. That was like in my mind because it had just been the US Open, and
Oh yeah,
and I just thought, why did he hit that shot? Like, why did he hit that shot on the 18th?
yeah,
Why did he
yeah,
not just lay up like he had been? Just dial it back a bit. Don't take driver. All
yeah,
these things.
yeah.
And then I just thought, well, surely at that moment, obviously it's his good friend on the bag and everything like that. But
Hmm.
why, why is he not saying to him, like, let's just do what we've been doing. It's good. But the
Yeah,
more I think about it, and I think more like what you've been saying about the fact of is someone who knows when to speak up, knows when to stay
yeah.
quiet. And let's face it, they've been pretty successful.
Oh yes, no,
You,
very very successful. And
they've made some pretty good decisions at other times. It just so
yeah,
happened, and I think Rory was pretty honest as well that it was him. Like
yeah,
he literally said in an interview, "I need to play more like Scotty," which
yeah,
is sometimes really boring. Like just make
yeah.
par and get out of there.
Hmm.
And so then you think, okay, well, I guess there's only so much a caddy can do. At the end of the day,
Yeah,
you're the player. You're
yeah,
going to say,
yeah.
no, give me that club.
Hmm.
So it's a very complex relationship, isn't it?
It is, but that's also another reason why I love golf and individual sport, because it's on you.
Mm,
If um, I played every other sport growing up. I played rugby and cricket and tennis and all that, but I was just drawn to golf because it's on you. You've
hmm
got the ball or the club, but you know if you hit a good one, if you win a tournament, it's mostly because of what you did. And if you messed up and missed the cut, it's your fault.
sure.
Nobody else hit the ball for you.
Yeah,
So I do appreciate that about golf.
yeah, yeah. And I think it's just one. I basically think I was just drawn into a bit of a media narrative of it must be this. This is why it's happening. I mean,
Hmm.
in reality, it's just hit a bad shot at the wrong time, isn't it? I mean,
Wrong
that
time.
is,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a golf is a game of misses, and the misses were a bit worse than the other persons on
yeah,
that day.
yeah.
But
I still cannot believe that shot that Rory hit on that par five that ended up in the middle of the green, and then it just started rolling
mm,
down, and went into missed the bunker and went all the way down. He made bogey on that hole,
hmm
and he hit the two most perfect golf shots to get in the middle of the green.
hmm
And so, I mean, I think he deserves the U.S. Open.
yeah,
It's just that golf course is just it's
and, and
brutal.
and taking nothing away from Bryson either, like
Yes,
that shot
yeah.
out of the sand from what was it?
Oh, with the best. That's probably it's probably going to go down in the history of probably the greatest shot of all time.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, just how difficult that shot is
oh,
and how
it's
well
the
he
hardest
pulled it
shot in
off.
golf, isn't it?
It is the hardest shot in golf. I'll never forget. I was playing with Trevor Immelman at the Dunhill um, on the 18th hole. I had a bunker shot like that,
Hmm
and it was a long bunker shot, but I had no green to work with. So I had to, kind of make a full swing, try and hit it high and soft.
hmm
Full swing with the lob wedge, and I caught middle of the ball. You can only imagine. I almost took out the cameraman at the back of the green. I mean, that thing was still sailing upwards when it was going
The ripped lob wedge.
past the cameraman, and I almost had a full 9-iron hitting back towards the green.
Oh no.
And it was on the Friday final hole, and I ended up making a bogey, but I still made the cut. But it was probably one of the most embarrassing moments of my life, playing with Trevor.
Yeah.
And I had probably a 40-yard bunker shot, and then I had about 120 yards coming back.
That's when you really needed there to be like a big stand
Oh, yes.
behind the green, just
Yeah,
take
the
relief.
stands were but the stands were on the side, and so
Oh, so it was just a
there were
tunnel.
just trees in the back. Yeah, so it was just cameraman in the trees. I almost killed the cameraman, and
Oh,
it just kept
wow.
going. It just kept going. Yeah.
I like the fact you went for it though.
Yeah, I
You
went
didn't,
for it. Full,
you just
full.
like, well,
I
this is a
committed.
perfect full lob wedge. It
I
really is.
committed. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. That's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's just it's so hard. It's such a hard sport. Like
Yes.
to anyone because I've got friends who are taking it up now because there seems to be a group of us of sort
Yeah.
of my mates that some were reluctant to and are now picking up clubs, and we go out and play, and I just say to them, Mo, just focus on getting that ball up in the air. Like that's
Yeah. Yeah.
don't worry about all the other stuff. They're literally saying to me, "Oh, how far is it to the green? And what
Yeah.
club are you using?" I'm like, "What I'm using makes absolutely no difference to
It
you.
doesn't
Like,
matter. Yeah.
I played a lot longer than you have. Just get the
Yeah.
ball up in the air. It's probably
Yeah.
a 7-iron. But if in
Yeah.
doubt, it's a 7-iron. That's what I just say
Yeah.
to just get it up in the air. But it's great. It's
Hmm.
great to see that it can be played at any level, and you can also. It's the idea of what I love is the handicap system because it's just an incredible
Yes,
way
puts
to just
everybody on the same level.
you just
Yeah,
keep
you can have
playing.
fun.
Yeah,
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 and
exactly.
it's funny, in high school, I went to a very specific high school. Kids came from all over the country to play cricket and rugby and tennis, and even like water polo. So we were well known for our sport, but not golf. So I walked the halls there at the school, and everybody was like, "Oh, there's the golfer. There's the golfer." I was known as the golfer, and at the time, golf wasn't a very popular or cool sport. Everybody was they wanted to be a rugby player or a cricket player. And those were the cool guys. So 20 years later, I go to my high school reunion. This was in 2015. And I see all my old friends that I didn't see for 20 years because I was
Mm.
in America and I was in Europe, and they stayed back home. And 80% of them said, "Man, I golf. I'm obsessed with the game. I golf 4 or 5 times a week. I never knew golf was so much fun." And I was like, "I told you,
Yeah.
you just didn't listen. You just didn't listen." And so golf has come such a long way from
Absolutely.
that kind of the stuffy, uncool sport to something everybody can enjoy, whatever level you are.
Yeah.
You know, that's why the scrambles are so much fun. Handicap system works out great.
Yeah.
Anybody can compete against anybody. And the
Absolutely.
different tee boxes as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no other sport like it. Yeah.
And not being afraid to play up a tee box as well. Like you're going to
Yeah.
get a lot
Yeah.
more enjoyment if you go to certain courses, and
Yes.
probably
Hmm.
certain. I think I've seen it sort of muted around that it shouldn't be based on um gender or necessarily how do I put it uh pro
Handy.
level everything.
Yeah.
You have like
Hmm.
the pro tees and then you go up and then it
Hmm.
ends up being ladies tees, juniors tees. It should be based on either handicap system or
Yeah.
average driving distance, basically, because that's
That
where
would
you're
be a
going to
good
get
one too. Yes.
that's
Uh-huh.
where you're going to get your enjoyment from. Because obviously you
Yeah.
can have a handicap who only hits the ball 100, a low handicap who only hits the ball 150 yards. They're not going to
Hmm.
enjoy playing from
No.
further back, and that's the key. It's an enjoyment. It's an enjoyment thing. So pick the tee boxes that work for you. Forget about it being like
Yeah.
you got to play ladies tees, junior tees. If you
Yeah.
hit the ball far enough, if you have fun, move back a bit. Equally, if you don't, move forward a bit.
Hmm.
Just
And I think that's where golf might grow in the next couple of years, is more of the kind of executive short courses
hmm hmm
and par threes.
hmm
I think there's a big market for that. Maybe night golf in the summertime. I can see it really growing on that side, because par threes are great.
yeah.
Par three courses. I don't know if there's a lot in England, but over here in the States, every town, every city normally has a par three course, and usually
Mm.
it's under the lights, and people have a great time. Beginners can go there. You're not intimidated by a 500-yard par four,
hmm
and everything's between 100 and 150 yards.
I'm trying to think. I think because where I grew up a little town called Crawley, which is sort of right near Gatwick Airport, and
Okay.
there was a Tilgate Forest Golf Centre. Basically, that's where I played all my golf, and there was a par three course there. That's basically the course I played the most, and it was, you know, many places 20 yards wide,
Oh.
um, big trees, like lost balls all the
Oh,
time,
nice.
super punishing golf. So that's
Yeah.
why I generally I hit the ball pretty straight,
Yeah.
most of the time because that's what I had to do.
Because you had to.
There was no shaping the ball
Yeah.
on those courses. That just wasn't part of the game. But that unfortunately we had a big a big sort of rise of foot golf around 20 I want to say 2010 in the UK,
Mhm.
and it really killed off a huge amount of par three courses
Oh, I
because they
gotcha.
weren't making any money.
Yeah.
Golf had a bit of a dip around that time,
Hmm.
and they just weren't making any money, so they all converted into foot golf, which was just the biggest travesty. I mean, you're just putting giant holes into par
Oh,
three
yes. Uh-huh.
courses, and they just ended up getting torn up on sort of stag doos and everything like that. So,
It's almost like
so
frisbee golf. Yeah.
yeah, it was just a real shame. And then even what the worst thing I think I ever saw was an 18-hole golf course that had a foot golf course implemented on it. So you
Oh,
would get
wow.
halfway down the fairway and there would be a flag with a giant hole.
Oh, interesting.
It was I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a nice club as well, and they had done it because
Hmm.
and you get it, they weren't making enough money, so they had to bring in
Yeah.
the party
Yeah.
thing. But now, interestingly, that you say that with golf having a big resurgence, foot golf has dropped off.
It's
Like
kind of going away.
no one
Yeah.
really does it anymore.
Hmm.
And now you sort of look at it and thinking, I bet they're thinking we need to go back to par three and under the
Yeah.
lights as well. I mean, over here, I've been saying for a while now, it doesn't happen, and
Mm.
you can understand it because of the weather.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it would be a really big thing if just one course in every sort of like
Yeah.
even just every 100 miles, if there was a course within a 100-mile radius that was a night golf course, you would have people traveling to it, and
I
it would
think
be booked
so.
out all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we have a company called Club Night Golf that basically is like a traveling um light show essentially on a golf course. So they'll put in like stakes that will be like with lights on, and then you
Oh,
play with glowing golf balls essentially.
yeah.
Um, and something like that's really cool because that shows that there's a market for night golf in the UK.
Definitely.
Um, but I think it would be really good. And hopefully, like you said, over the next few years, we're going to see
Yeah.
a rise in those
Yeah,
sort
and
of things.
especially with the YouTube golf, and the younger generation really getting into that kind of almost
Mm,
like a party scene,
mm,
um, and I think 4 or 5 hours, it just takes too long for most
mm.
people to play, and some of the younger generation, maybe they don't have that attention span for 5 hours, so they want something quick, and so par threes, you know,
Yeah.
could be the way to go. I don't know.
The common thing is I don't have patience to play golf. That seems to be one of the
Yeah,
and it's something
yeah.
I've never really understood. It's like, well, do you think golfers have a lot of patience? Like, no,
Yeah, with
that's why so
zero
many
patience.
clubs are broken. That's why
Yeah,
that's why that's why everyone buys new clubs, just
yeah,
because that's the
yeah.
problem.
Hmm.
It's a funny reason that one, but I
Yeah,
think it will change with the rise in
yeah.
popularity and everything. Well, Martin, I feel like we could talk for many hours, and I want to have you
Oh,
back on the podcast.
I would love that. I would love that. Anytime you want.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? I'm leading up to the Masters in April, I want to do a pre-Masters um podcast. I don't know how you're set, but that would be if we could do that, even if it was just, if I got your even if I got your sort of opinions before, it doesn't have to be like a long one, but I'd love to have you back on before then as well.
Sure.
Um
I
and
would love the opportunity. Yeah.
to talk all things Masters, because I barely contain my excitement already. I think we're like 55 days out or something like that now,
Uh-oh.
aren't we?
Yeah.
Um,
It's that's usually when the golf season really gets going.
yeah.
I know there's some great tournaments on the West Coast and that going on, but that first major, I mean,
Oh,
everybody gets kind of psyched for that one. Yeah.
absolutely. And over here, it's like the perfect timing,
Mm-hmm.
because it's April. Things are really. I'm going on a golf trip in May, so I've got the excitement of that, like
Yeah.
building up. That's happening whilst the PGA's on, I think.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like Sunday night, you sit down about 7 o'clock,
Yes.
and it's just when the leaders are going out. So you
Amen corner. Yeah,
up till
coming up
midnight,
and yeah.
basically. You've
Yeah.
got from
Yeah.
7 till midnight of
Mm-hmm.
just perfect golf. You have the Rolex hour where it's
Mm-hmm.
uninterrupted, no
Yeah.
ads, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love it.
it's just the best. It's just the best. Obviously, Trevor Immelman on the commentary as well. And
Yeah.
it's
And just
just great.
the music, the scenery. I don't think
Yeah.
the intro music's changed at all in
No.
like 25, 30 years.
Hmm.
So yeah, every time that comes on, it's just like, okay, it's time to
Yeah.
sit down and okay, nobody bug me for 5 hours. I'm gonna watch the final round of Augusta,
It just takes me back to being like a kid.
Yes,
There's two things.
absolutely.
There's the Masters, and there's the Crucible as well. So the snooker World Championships over in the
Okay.
UK, which again is another late night
Yeah.
evening session thing. And to be honest, as a kid, I fell asleep during each of them. But that's like the comfort of it, and I have to fight this.
Yes.
I have to fight it now because of how comforting it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, just sort of, this is great, but then you end up missing something amazing, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd love to have you back before then, and we'll do a little maybe pre-Masters predictions
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Would be really fun, and you've probably got some insight on a few players maybe, and things like that
Maybe.
as well. Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
but they
I I enjoy watching the PGA Tour on the weekends now, and I follow the Live as well, and I
mhm,
know some of them will be able to play at Augusta. So yeah, we can definitely chat about a few of those players and
yeah.
see if we can come up with a couple of good picks.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thanks, Martin. And do you want to direct everyone to Birdies and Bogeys as well, so that they can find some of their I mean, I will give an endorsement now of Birdies Bogey. I think what I really like about it is the customization
yes,
ability, being able to actually, reach out to you. People, I'm sure you'd love it if people reached out to you with their ideas of what
with
they
their
would like.
ideas, yes,
Yeah.
they dream it up. We can make it happen.
Yeah.
That's what I like to say. And obviously we have a couple of retail spots here locally where it's not custom
Hmm.
gear, but I love to do the custom stuff. So if somebody wants matching outfits for a tournament, or corporate gear. We're actually outfitting a bunch of car dealerships around town, and so whatever logo, whatever print, we can make that happen. So yeah, I'd love for the people to go check out our website. That's just a small sample size of what we can do. Birdies and Bogeys Golf Gear.com. Would love for people to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I'm thinking of doing a personal page on Instagram this year and play a little bit more golf and maybe do some tour tips on there
Yeah.
and some video blogs and things like that, so people can kind of watch me play a few holes and maybe have a few matches on there. Who knows?
Yeah,
There's a
absolutely.
lot of opportunity, and so yeah, we're definitely excited for this year, and would love for people to kind of follow our story and our journey, and yeah, if they want anything custom, please reach out.
Exactly. I mean, I think I think we need to get that Instagram page started, and
Yeah.
road to senior open champion, I think should be the tagline
Yeah.
of it.
And chasing major number 2 and
Yeah.
unfinished business.
Oh,
those are the
now
2.
we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're
Yeah.
talking. I'm getting fired up
Yeah.
for it. I'm ready.
No, I appreciate your support too, and it's been great getting to know you and chatting to you on Instagram and all that, and following your success of growing your podcast, and it's been fun listening to you.
I appreciate that, Martin, and I'm sure the listeners are going to look forward to the next time you're on. Absolutely.
Awesome.
It's been a great chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers.